Hello everyone and welcome to another doll customizing video. I want to wish you all a happy Pride. If you've seen the title of this video, I'm assuming that's why you clicked on it. This month we are doing a two-part series making one of our favorite but also very little is known about them, Monster High couple. If you are a Monster High diehard fan, I'm sure you know who we are talking about. We are making Spelldon and Valentine this month. This video is all about how we made our Spelldon dolls, so without further ado, let's get started. First of all, I had to come up with a full body design for this doll because at the time of us working on this project, there was not a full body design for Spelldon featuring an outfit for us to go off of. There was, however, a leaked image of Spelldon and Valentine for the cover of the comic book, so I used that as a reference when sketching out the face and hair mostly. When I drew up the outfit, I was pulling from a lot of different places. I was pulling from fan art of Spelldon that already exists, and also Garrett Sander, the creator of Monster High, has his own sketch of what Spelldon could have looked like if we ever got to see him in Generation 1. Then of course pulling a little bit from Casta too, because they are brother and sister. I feel like they might have a slightly similar fashion style. I mainly went with like the punk aesthetic because that seems to be the common theme across every iteration of Spelldon I could find. So for this custom, I will be voicing over and doing the work for Spelldon's face and hair and some other small details, and Emma will be doing the voiceover and process of making his entire outfit. So let's get started. For Spelldon's base doll, we are using this G3 Deuce from the School Spirit 6-pack. I already have a basic Deuce, so I don't really feel like I need to have 3 of them because I also have the Coffin Bean one. And the first thing I had to do was rip off the snakes because obviously Spelldon does not have snakes for hair. This was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I just used like brute force and ripped it off. There was only a small rip at the top of the head there, but aside from that, it looks good. I wanted him to have really tight curly hair, so I'm using 3mm curls in 3 different shades, all from the Doll Planet. And because Deuce does not have rooted hair, I am taking a needle and grabbing it with my pliers and poking a bunch of holes that I can use to root the hair in a little bit easier. This is just so I can avoid possibly breaking my rerooting needle because I don't want to have to change that in and out a bunch of times during the reroot process. And luckily I did not break my needle at all throughout this reroot. Also, the vinyl is pretty like thin and not super hard there, so it wasn't too much of a problem. Here's Spelldon with his very long and full afro. Obviously I still need to cut and style this so it looks more accurate to the comic book, but we want to first seal in all the hair with some Fabri-Tac. All the hairstyling was done off camera because I am not a hairstyle girly. I don't know how to do tutorials on that. I just wing it and hope for the best. So this is how it ended up looking in the end, and I'm very happy with it. Because this hairstyle is so short, if you want to conserve your hair to possibly use it on future projects, if you're planning on doing a reroot like this, I would say well, I cut the curls into halves so they would be shorter, and that was still as long as it was when you saw the finished reroot. I would say maybe even cut it into thirds if you want it to be really, really short. But, you know, it's easier to like make it shorter starting off with a longer hair than make it longer, So as usual, I'm removing all of the factory face paint with 100% acetone and some Q-tips, and now he is all clean and ready for his new face up, starting off with a layer of Mr. Super Clear. I did a little sketching off camera just for the first layer to make sure that the eyes were a bit symmetrical. And then I just wanted to add some lashes to the lower lash line for a little bit of extra detail. Then I added in the shapes for his irises and blocked out his eyebrow shape with some chalk pastels and then shaped them with a kneaded eraser. And now I'm going over top of that with a watercolor pencil to sketch in his eyebrows. In the comic book artwork, it looks like Spelldon has a little bit of eyeshadow on, so I'm using a yellow watercolor pencil and adding that to his lid. I guess I forgot to film painting in the whites of his eyes, so I did that off camera, and now I'm going in with my black acrylic paint and filling out the lines for his eyeliner. I have not done a male doll face-up in a long time, so this is feeling very brand new to me and totally out of my comfort zone, but I am still trying my best and hoping it turns out good. It appears that Spelldon also has a little bit of eyeshadow underneath his eyes, so I am adding a purple metallic paint underneath his lower lash line. I'm really glad I did this because it feels like it adds a little more personality and expression into him that wasn't there before, and definitely would not have been there if I just painted basically his eye shape and nothing else. I would say this next part is an optional step. I'm filling out the eyes first with a watercolor pencil because I was attempting to blend the orange and purple together, but I didn't really like how it turned out, so I ended up just completely painting over top of it with acrylic paint anyway, but it is good to try and see if it looks good. So I went back in with my mechanical pencil and sketched out the shape for the pupils and then filled that in with my black acrylic paint. Using a very light purple acrylic paint, I added some shadow into the whites of the eyes. Now I didn't really like how dark the purple was when I used the watercolor pencil, so I cover it up with a slightly lighter purple. That way it can be differentiated from the pupils, because right now it just looks like a solid black orb. And of course, so his eyes match his sister's, I'm using an orange acrylic paint to add a little bit contrasting highlight into the irises. I wanted to paint his lips, basically just a natural lip color, making the top lip slightly darker than the bottom lip because it appears to look like that in the comics, so I wanted to make that a little accurate. I'm sure some of you have noticed by now, but I also sculpted these pointy ears with some 2-part epoxy sculpt. I have to do that off camera because I am not a sculptor with clay. I'm not a master at that, unfortunately, but here I am trying my best to color match the clay with his skin tone. Now, of course, to add one of the signature details about his face is adding the beauty mark, which I am using a dotting tool for to make sure it is a perfect circle. And then I am using my dotting tool again to add the white highlights in the center of his eyes. So with that, I think I'm done with Spelldon's face up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, if I captured his likeness at all. I don't know, I tried my best. I also wanted to freehand some tattoos onto Spelldon. This neck tattoo I did was indirectly inspired by Gale from Baldur's Gate 3. I completely forgot that he had this tattoo that goes from his chest to his neck, and it's like he's a wizard, so I was thinking about like witchcraft stuff. I don't know, I just like subconsciously did that and thought about it after. And then I also added a couple ear piercings to him. Moving on to these incredible shoes, I drew these up on my tablet and then sent the sketch to Studio42, who did this amazing 3D sculpt for us to use. Emma used the 3D printer to print these out, and now I'm getting ready to hand paint them. This is basically my take on a Monster High boy version of Doc Martens that are very punk inspired, because I feel like Spelldon is wearing punk clothes, so I wanted the shoes to have that same vibe. I'm starting off by just painting them entirely black, and then I go over all the spiked details with a silver metallic paint, as well as the little skullette patch on the side, or I guess it's just skull, because the boys have like the skullette without the bow. And so that is what's on there, and I think they look super cool. Huge thank you to Studio.
Hello girls and gays, congratulations, we have made it to Pride Month. This year, to celebrate Pride Month, Morgan and I decided to make these two lovers History will call them best friends, but we all know. Today we are going to be starting off with Spelldon Caldronello. This comic book releases on June 5th, so check your local comic book stores. Sadly, he never got an official doll, even though there was some concept art by Garrett, but now we are here to make that official doll for everyone, and I hope you guys like it. Let's get started. All the patterns I'll be using today are from Requiem Arts, so if you'd like to purchase them, the link will be in the description. Starting with his pants, all I have is this gray stretchy denim, which I do not recommend. I would recommend a cotton-like or something a lot thinner than this. It's just very hard to work with and gets very bulky. Then I'm going to start making the back pockets. I just took out the pieces and I glued them down and then I sewed them down. Then I sewed on the front pockets and then I can connect the two sides together, giving me one leg each. After that, I sewed the legs together, added some holes and a belt, and the pants are basically done. Luckily, this is a boy doll, so it doesn't look as bulky, but on a girl doll, this would look very bulky. Then for his shirt, I just took this other cotton shirt that I had found for really cheap, and then I cut my pattern out on that. Following Morgan's design, I cut out this symbol on vinyl and I proceeded to weed it. I highly recommend using vinyl on doll clothes, it makes it look so much more professional. Oh, and I also tried to bleach this shirt, did not work. It worked a little bit, not really. After that's dry, I can go ahead and connect the front to the back. Then I fabric-tacked the collar and sleeves, and now I can sew the sides together and attach my vinyl that I weeded before. All you need to do is just iron it on and peel off the backing. And with that, his shirt and pants are done, and now we can move on to his little flannel shirt, jacket with cut-off sleeves. Whatever you want to call it. I'm going to start off with placing my pattern pieces and cutting them out. Since I don't want this fraying, since it's a cotton material, I'm going to go and fray check all the sides. After that's done, he has like a shoulder lapel, that's not the word, I don't know the word for it, things on his shoulders. I'm going to go and take some ribbon and apply them after I light them on fire. Very important step. I'm just going to go and apply them in the middle seams and glue them down. After that's done, I take some fabric tack and I hem the edges and go and sew that down. After that's sewn down, it has this nice edge and it looks so clean, and oh, I love when it looks clean. Now we can pin the sleeve to the actual jacket itself. Do that and cut at the ends, burn the ends, and the jacket is done base-wise. Now it's time to accessorize. Spelldon has some zippers on his jacket, so I didn't have anything like that, so I had this extra Toralite jacket laying around, so I go and I seam rip that and then glue it onto his, and I think it looks so great. Since he is a punk boy, we had to give him some studs, as seen on his original artwork and Morgan's, so I'm going to go and glue these onto his shoulder lapel things. I added 3 on each side. Then I added some buttons and a couple other things off camera. Now with everything done, I'm going to add his clothing onto him. I will be sewing these onto him, so these will be not removable. Sorry, Spelldon, you'll be wearing this for eternity. Then I glued some fishnets to his legs so they wouldn't move around under his pants, put on his pants, and sewed his pants into place. Now you're probably wondering, why is this little strap here? Well, that's for his potion bottles, obviously. Let's go make them. Taking some UV resin and some glitter, I mean a lot of glitter, we're going to fill that, cure it, and we end up with something like this. I made one pink heart love potion and purple, guys, what's in this potion? You guys can come up with it, I don't know. With those done, we can add them to his belt strap and, oh my god, stop. don't play with me right now. The last thing I need to do is make his necklace. I took a little bit of extra fabric that I had from his belt, cut it, and put it around his neck, and I'm going to add some tiny, tiny studs. And with that, I am done.
I think I can say this for both of us. When it comes to making custom dolls of boys, that is completely out of our comfort zone, but I personally really love how Spelldon turned out. I think he looks really cute and sticks true to like a Monster High boy doll. I of course want to give a huge shout out and thank you to zstudio42 over on Instagram for sculpting these shoes for us again.
Speaking of shoes, we will be releasing new shoes we have not sold before, sculpted by ZStudio, on our shop account. And as always, our Patreon subscribers will have 24-hour early access to these shoes and a 15% off code. I had such a fun time working on Spelldon, even though I don't work on boy dolls very often. I'd rather work on a girl because I just think their fashion's a little bit better, but Morgan did such a great job designing this outfit. And next time, this month, will be his counterpart, Valentine, and I got to design his outfit. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you guys subscribe and wait, because at the end of this month, he'll be here.
As always, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much to Emmy Lisis, Christian, Sylphic Studios, Emma, Vinyl Bunny, Kate, Amanita Truffle, Daisy, Maisie, Anson, Miss Chips, Marissa, Keisha, Rue, Nick, Nori, Crystal Rose, Armand, Dark Lovely 87, and all the rest of our Playline supporters. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, a huge shout out and thank you to Emma for collaborating with me again on this project. And if you want to follow all of her socials, they are linked down in the description. And with that, I hope we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!